Kristen Welker is the moderator of Meet the Press. Kristen, good morning. You have been very busy this weekend, my friend. A wide-ranging phone interview, I understand, with President Trump. Where to begin? We can start with some of the headlines already being made by your interview about the tariffs that he announced this week, 25% on imported cars and car parts. What did he say about the potential impact on the price of cars in this country?
Willie, it was a wide-ranging interview. It lasted just over 10 minutes. President Trump defiant, saying these auto tariffs are permanent. I asked him if he warned CEOs against increasing prices. He said, look, it is fine with him if foreign-made cars see their prices go up. He believes his tariffs overall are going to lead to more sales for American cars. He thinks it's going to bolster the American car industry. But he is defiant. I asked him if he was concerned about some of the volatility in the stock market. He said absolutely not. He said he thinks this is going to be phenomenal for the stock market. And he also said this, quote, I couldn't care less if they raise the prices of foreign cars because people are going to start buying American-made cars, Willie.
The prices undoubtedly are going to go up. Let's also talk, Kristen. I know you and the president talked about this Signal group chat. That is the commercial messaging app used by the national security team, mistakenly inviting a journalist into it who saw attack plans in Yemen. Will there be accountability? There's been a lot of call for someone to be fired or at least to resign. What did he say about that?
Well, Willie, President Trump seems completely dug in terms of defending his national security team. I asked if he has confidence in his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, who, of course, distributed a lot of those attack plans on that Signal chat group. I asked if he has confidence in his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, who has taken responsibility for the fact that journalist Jeffrey Goldberg was inadvertently added to the group chat. He said he has confidence in both of them. I asked if there's been any discussion about firing anyone. He said no. I said, what about Mike Waltz? There are reports that you are being advised to fire Mike Waltz. He said no. He said, quote, I don't fire people because of fake news and because of witch hunts, Willie. He tried to put the focus on that mission to attack those Houthi rebels in Yemen. He said it was a success. He said that's what people should be focused on. So as of right now, he is defiant, insisting no one will lose their job over this. Willie?
All right, we will see. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. The president also discussing with Kristen the possibility of acquiring Greenland, where he has dispatched his vice president this weekend. Kristen, thanks so much. We, of course, will look for much more this morning on Meet the Press, when Kristen also is joined by the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg. He is the journalist, as Kristen said, who was invited into that national security group chat. Also, Democratic Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado and Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.